There was a friend in the neighborhood I grew up with that had a dog and it had puppies. And one of those puppies in the litter went to a friend who lived across the street. And another dog from that same litter went to a different house a couple blocks down. That house, I was always kind of nervous to walk by because it was just, there was something wrong there. It was the scary house. You know what I'm talking about? The lawn there was no lawn, just weeds. The fence somehow was destroyed, even though everyone else's fence in the neighborhood looked brand new still. Somehow they made their fence was destroyed, and it looked like it was like 50 years old. It was that house. And they took one of the puppies. Now, my friend took great care of that dog, walked it every single day. He trained it. We used to play with it all the time. It got plenty of exercise. And that dog was having a great life. And everyone loved that dog and would run up. And the first thing you would do before you even say hi to your friend is you would pet the dog. And the dog was getting all kinds of attention. But the other dog was abused. They used to beat the dog. They would chain it to a tree in the backyard and forget about it. They wouldn't feed it every day. It was getting skinny. And when you go to that house, you had to be careful because if it came off you broke out of, got away, which it did all the time, it would bite you. If you're riding your bike down the street, you would see him coming and you would just pedal so fast. I got really fast on a bike because of that dog. We all hated that dog. And it's so sad because that dog, it wasn't a bad dog. It didn't have anything wrong with its brain. All it knew was pain and abuse, and it never got exercise and it never got treated well. And because of that, we couldn't pet the dog and we couldn't give it any type of attention because it would bite us. The dog didn't want to be like that, but it was terrified. It was afraid. And I think it's interesting that you could look at that situation, and it's very easy not to judge the mean dog as that's what it just naturally is. It wasn't. If you would have switched the two dogs and put the other one in that home and gave the other one to my friend, it would have been the same situation, but the other dog would be the one biting you instead of running up to you wagging its tail. And in life, that's the way it is for so many people. It wasn't the people that were abusing the dog that suffered. They'd go out and have a good time, hang out with their friends, and they weren't being judged or treated poorly because they were abusing this animal. It was only the abused dog that suffered. It was only the abused dog that kept getting more and more abuse and was treated badly by everybody because how do you be nice to a dog that's chasing you on your bike and wants to rip you apart? And that's what I find so sad is that throughout so many people's lives, they'll be looking at themselves as just being a bad person and just not caring and making really bad choices. It's like, no, you can't think clearly when you're being abused and when you're overwhelmed with anxiety and fear and shame. You can't judge yourself based on those things you did. You have to be fully responsible for it. Unfortunately, you're the only one who's going to suffer the consequences for how you act. But when you realize you wouldn't have made those choices, you wouldn't have acted that way had you not been abused, if you've been raised in a loving home with plenty of money and treated really well, lots of good friends, you wouldn't have done those things. So let yourself off the hook. Just the same way you're not going to be angry at this dog and think it has a mental problem. You know it was abused. And you know if that dog wasn't abused in a different home, it would be happy and it would be loving and it would want you to pet him and it would be great. So just like the dog, it wasn't the dog's fault, but he suffered all the consequences. And just like in my life or in your life, if you were abused in any way, you weren't making choices based on what you wanted to do. You were just trying to survive. Thanks for watching the video.